Prediction Markets Edge on the early line starts right now. It's Donnie Rightside and it's Joe Ranier, the next half hour. We got you covered on all the latest hot topics here, different ways to invest your money. Get that stock market approach because, Joe, draft, NHL, NBA, Major League Baseball, it's all going down tonight.
Little something for everybody here tonight, Donnie. And the draft, of course, these markets have been available for a while now, and there are some opportunities coming up, not only in the draft, but of course in playoffs too. We got NBA and NHL here tonight.
Back-to-back warm days in Pittsburgh here. Well, at least it gives them something to cheer on because who knows where the Pirates are going. Who knows if Aaron Rodgers is going to show up as their quarterback. And also, the Pittsburgh Penguins about to get sent home and maybe swept by the Philadelphia Flyers over the weekend. But we got action to talk about in the association tonight, Joe. That's the New York Knicks traveling to take on the Atlanta Hawks. 1-1, this series is tied up. This game will tip off tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern. If we take a look at the Kalshi predictive markets, New York currently trading, Joe, at a 51% chance to win this game. Atlanta at 49%. If you include the spread, which is 1.5, New York's contract currently at 49 cents in this one, Joe. We just talked about our best bets a few moments ago. You're really digging into those New York Knicks tonight.
Yeah, and one of the big reasons I do is because, like I had mentioned, they have zero answer for Josh Hart. He has been an absolute PRA machine in this series through 2 games here. And despite the fact that Mike Brown and the very questionable rotations that he put out there for game 2 in that second half, Josh Hart, 35 minutes, 15 points, 13 boards, 6 assists. He's got back-to-back now 30-plus PRA games in this series. And call me crazy, I think it's 24 and a half, I believe, points, assists, and rebounds again here tonight. If it ain't broke, I ain't fixing it. I like the Knicks, but I like Josh Hart a whole lot here tonight in this game 3.
There you go, Josh Hart, centerpiece there. Also, if you take a look at Jalen Brunson to be on the road and be that man they expect, 30-plus point effort tonight on the Kalshi Marketplace, Joe. A $100 investment on that pays back $278. Let's go north of the border. Another best bet you just saw on the early line. That's Cleveland at Toronto today. Cleveland is the favorite in this game on the Kalshi Marketplace, Joe. Currently trading at 59 cents for the contract if you think they win this game outright. A $100 investment pays back $170. If we flip it over to Toronto, which I think they have a legitimate chance to win it outright, that $100 wager, Joe, pays back $239. But if we take a look at the spread, Cleveland by 3.5 is what's listed here. So if they win by 4 points or more, they get the cover. But for me, Joe, it's all Toronto for me. Give me the 3.5 tonight.
Yeah, well, listen, it looks like they are posting some props for Emmanuel Quigley there, which they're going to need tonight. He has got to get back out on that court for them because he gives them options offensively. They have been a mess, Donnie. 40 turnovers in 2 games. I mean, that is just absurd. You can't win in the NBA if you keep turning the ball over. So if he is, in fact, out on the court tonight, which I think he will be, then I got to look at his points prop, Donnie, as well as his assist prop, because I believe that's going to be key to Toronto finally stopping the bleeding, less turnovers, and more points with a true point guard on the court there. So I'll be looking at his props to go over tonight.
Give me the 3.5 tonight. And also, how about a little Scotty Barnes action? 20-plus points tonight that he scores at home. That $100 investment on Kalshi would pay back $228. Triple header, Joe, in the association. 9:30 start tonight. Denver at Minnesota. If we look at Denver, currently trading to win this game outright at 55 cents, Joe, which means a $100 investment on Denver winning this game outright would pay back $182. We think the underdogs can steal another one here from Minnesota at home. That's trading currently at 46 cents, which means, Joe, plus money in your pocket. A $100 investment would pay back $218 if you take the T-Wolves.
Yeah, so another one of these zigzag series, Donnie, where there's not a lot separating the two. But keep an eye because Anthony Edwards, questionable. He's been questionable, and there is some concern about the knee swelling up here. So if he's 50-50 to go tonight, I would likely look towards Denver sooner rather than later in this spot here. But I bet Denver early, right after the game against Minnesota, that Minnesota won in game 2, because this has got zigzag written all over it. I think, especially with questions on Anthony Edwards, I would jump in on Denver and maybe the overs for a team total in this one as well.
Yeah, take a look. And also, like, you're still not getting any cheap numbers. You can't, it doesn't have the no listed on Cal Sheet, Joe, but for Anthony Edwards to score 30 plus points, it's juiced evenly here. $100 investment pays back 209. And again, with a bulky knee, you just never know.
Yep.
Does he rise to the occasion? Is it not as bad as we thought? Or I'm not one of those guys that goes, hey, if I hear you got a bulky knee, I'm looking to take the over. So that's something I'd probably looking to fade here, but also understanding 1-1 key game at home, rise to the occasion. Timberwolves put the Nuggets maybe on the back pedal. We'll see in that finds tonight at 9:30 p.m. when that game is going to jump. Buffalo and Boston, fantastic series. You saw the electricity and the energy in the building in Buffalo. Game number 1, they came back with a win, and that one with the big third period. Game number 2 was all Boston. Now we head back to Boston in the TD Garden, and today, 50-50 trading on the Kalshi marketplace, Joe, between the Sabres and the Bruins. This game should be fantastic tonight.
It should be, but I also think less goals here in this kind of spot, Donnie. I think the total is back up to 6.5 in this one. And yeah, I'm going to kind of keep going that way because I do think that this is going to be about the goalies. I think it's going to be about the defense. This is, again, a very inexperienced Buffalo team. And they seem to fall behind sooner rather than later. So I'm looking at less goals here, 6.5 to the under for me.
Be interesting to see maybe a 3-2, like 4-2 type final in this environment. Also, Boston is a home team. They won by multiple goals last time. And as we know in the playoffs, boy, they're pulling the goalies earlier and earlier than ever to try to give themselves an advantage. So if you think Boston might win this game outright, how about take them on the puck line, Joe? -1.5. That contract currently at 29 cents, which means, let's just say a 3-1 win by Boston, that $100 investment would pay back $345. Let's get to game 3, Colorado and LA. Colorado's up 2-0 in this series and heavyweight favorites up against LA. On the road, Joe, Colorado currently trading at 60% for a chance to win this game. The LA Kings at 40%. The Avalanche look great, looking to go up 3-0 in this series.
Yeah, listen, I think if there is a game that the Kings are going to get in this series, and they have played extremely well, and they have done better, Donnie, than the market has given them credit for here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 4-2 has been the total in 2 games here. They lost 2-1, 2-1. I got to tell you, the goal and a half would have cleared no problem in those 2 games. And you know what? As a home dog, take the goal and a half as well in this one here, Donnie. But I would definitely consider backing them straight up to pull the outright win tonight.
And by the way, Colorado with a 2-0 series lead. The favorites to win the Stanley Cup on the Kalshi marketplace, Joe, currently trading at 27 cents to get that done, followed by Carolina. But, Joe, you saw a team last night in Philadelphia go up 3-0 on those Pittsburgh Penguins. That contract, with just a few short days ago, was 2 cents. Now up to 4 cents here. The reason I bring it up is, do I think the Flyers are going to win the Stanley Cup? No, I don't. But understand what Joe and I have been preaching since we've been doing this show. It's not about sometimes seeing it all the way through. It's about turning a ticket into profitability. So if you have the Flyers at 2 cents, it doubles to 4 cents. You have the chance to get out and make a profit at that. You want to ride it out. They clinch the series. It goes to 5 or 6. More money in hand as well, Joe. So once again, for the people out there, you're stupid if you bet the Flyers to win the Stanley Cup. No, you're not. It's a different level of handicapping here and wagering and making investments, Joe, on just seeing that contract price go higher, then making your decision.
We're not betting outcomes in the predictive market. We're betting line moves. That's what we're betting here. We are just looking for price increases and decreases after each game. Get in and get out, Donnie.
Joe, by the way, I'm scrolling down here on Kalshi to see who's going to win this Stanley Cup. It's not letting me put a bet in on the Florida Panthers. Any idea why?
Yeah, well, I think they have the cup poolside right now, Donnie, but that's okay. That's okay.
Tampa Bay Lightning holding it down for the state of Florida. 11% on Kalshi to win that Stanley Cup. More fun coming up next right here on EME.
Process is closed. Let's call it out for what it is, right? And is it their fault? You could, they've been just besieged and Embiid, but it just continues, Kevin, right? As soon as he's like, don't worry about my health, and and then here we are, right? I would have traded him a couple of years ago. I would have gotten ahead of the curve, Kevin.
Game time decisions only on SportsGrid.
At the end of the day, LeBron's going to have to put that team on his back. Can he do it? I don't know if he could do it for a 7-game series. Can he give you like 2, like, oh my goodness, LeBron at 31? Yeah, I think he can give you a couple of those games. But it's about the other guys that have to step up.
Pro basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
Scottie Scheffler, the best golfer in the world. How many majors will he win this year? And if he does get 4, Joe, that's currently trading at 3 cents. So a $100 investment actually only pays back $333 at this point, which is kind of insane when you ask him to win all 4. Joe, I told you already, sticking to my guns. $100 investment on no majors. None over the next 4 this year.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
You build teams in the second, third, and fourth round, right, Donnie? Yeah. That's where you build. That's where you get the depth. That's where you build the team. So teams looking for draft capital very much could be alive and well in this draft coming up because there's just nobody to mortgage the future for because you need your franchise guy. They're just not in this draft.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Draft night tonight, Joe. City of Pittsburgh, center stage. Rabel's going to check in a little bit for this draft, then check out to go to counseling at this point. You're not going to be able to drive any boats down the Monongahela tonight on Three Rivers. That means, yes, it's Three Rivers over there. They got it all locked down, but we got the information that you need to know. So, Joe, I'm going to start this off. Any shoebox bets on the number 1 overall pick? If you say, you know what, it's going to be Mendoza tonight. You think that's a good bet for the investment for the people to make out there?
Something tells me he already has Raider gear at his place here in Miami, which is where he'll be watching, and the cameras will be rolling because he will be not at the draft. Only 16 guys, by the way, will be present for the first round here. So we'll see how that goes in Pittsburgh for the draft tonight.
Yeah, Kalshi and the predictive markets aren't going to let you take any sort of investment on, yes, the number 1 overall pick being Mendoza. But the no bet, Joe, on Mendoza not going number 1, $100 investment pays back $10,000 if you want to be that risky in just a few hours coming up tonight. But the more questions will be, Joe, who's going overall at number 2? That seems like that's where the draft is going to be won. But tonight, we got information going both ways, Joe. Is it Bailey? Is it Reese? And currently right now, if you're believing the smoke, it's now David Bailey from Texas Tech, Joe. $100 investment pays back $182 if he goes number 2.
Well, and that's a big if, Donnie, because the reality is, the Jets are going to go either Bailey or Reese. That seems to be the market, right? I don't think there's a whole lot of questions about it because they're 2 of the best rushers in this draft. And outside of quarterback, Donnie, that's the biggest need for a lot of these teams, especially the Jets. But the question becomes with Arizona, is Arizona picking at 3? Because the trading out is a huge option here because you're not betting on what Arizona needs here at number 3. Yeah. You're really betting on who calls them. And there's only a handful of teams, Donnie, or a handful of guys that would be worth moving up and trading anyway. So, and it's likely going to be either Reese or it's going to be Bailey, whoever the Jets don't pick. So I wouldn't focus on Arizona at 3. I would just focus on who is that team calling Arizona and who is the player left that they're going to go up and get.
Market manipulation, Joe, always happens at this time. Sometimes you hear like a month earlier, but now that we're getting up within hours of the draft, boy, you need to read those tea leaves. Because, by the way, April 20th, did you know Arvell Reese? He was currently trading on Kalshi, Joe, at 74.1% to be that number 2 overall pick. Now currently trading at 47% at this point. So listen up today. Maybe you can find yourself some deals out there. The number 3 overall pick, which means could it be Arvell Reese dropping down? He's listed at 36%. Or could it be somebody absolutely falling in love with Notre Dame running back Jeremiah Love, currently trading at 29% today, Joe, for that 3rd overall pick?
And again, don't get caught up with Arizona here because, A, they need a lot of help here, but they are not, as far as I'm concerned, locked into this at all at number 3 here. But at the same time, and don't forget, by the way, they're one of the most trade-active teams that we're hearing. They're making phone calls left and right with a new head coach and organizational there. So I think Arizona wants more picks, not less picks. And I think that if you can find anything that, any sort of defensive player, that kind of angle, and that kind of market at number 3, that's where I'd go, because that's what this draft is all about. And whoever trades with Arizona, if they do, is going to take that best defensive player on the board.
Jeremiah Love certainly surging up the board here. 29% now is a chance to be the 3rd overall pick. But come on now, Arizona need way more things than a running back at this point here as we take a look. That 4th overall pick, which is currently for the Titans, this is an interesting one here because now the leader in the clubhouse, it is actually Jeremiah Love. But over the past, let's just call it month, Joe, looks like they were going to be locked into Love. Maybe not so much anymore. And could it be Sonny Styles, another talented linebacker from Ohio State, now at a 35% chance here, making a lot of headway as of late for that 4 pick?
Yeah, and again, I think Tennessee is kind of sitting in a sweet spot here because if Arizona does trade out, well, then where do they trade? They're not moving into the 4 spot, which means they got to come back down, which means, there's some options here. But this is a team that is either going to go offense to build around their young quarterback, or they're going to go with the best edge rusher that is left on the board in case something crazy happens. And it's always possible when you're talking about the Jets in Arizona. But they could benefit big time if there's chaos at number 2 or 3. But I think they're going to go defense. I still think they're going to go defense because the draft is stacked with edge rushers that all of these teams need.
Exactly. Picking a running back for a team that's not quite ready to win yet doesn't make a whole lot of sense, which then brings us up to the New York Giants, who years ago, they drafted Saquon Barkley on a bad football team. He was a good player and injured, but still on a bad football team. Do the Giants right now, looking to be on the ascension, go, now's the time to take another running back? If they do, Jeremiah Love's only listed at 18%, but also the guys ahead of him, Tyson, Styles, and Downs, who's really talented in the secondary, they're hovering anywhere between, Joe, 22% to 20% to be that 5th overall pick.
Yeah, and listen, the Giants are the most flexible of any of these top 5 teams, Donnie, because they do have a pick now at number 10 as well. And really, Donnie, they're sitting there at 5, and basically it's completely dependent on what happens with number 3 and number 4, because they're going to react to what is already off the board. They're not dictating anything there, even though they have more flexibility. Wouldn't shock me if they maybe trade down or just simply go with whoever the best wide receiver on their board is at that point.
Talking about wide receivers, number 6 overall, the Cleveland Browns in the market for some more offense here. Seems like they got their defense figured out. One of the favorites here, Carnell Tate, listed at a 20% chance to be the 6th overall pick, but also Spencer Fano now, the leader right now at 22%. But the contract here at 20% is Carnell Tate. Do we think we might be going wide receiver in Cleveland at 6 overall?
Yeah, or could it go quarterback? Because let's face it, they still don't have one. They do not. But I don't think quarterback is going to be there. There are yes-no markets with the quarterback drafted in this spot here. But ultimately, I'm with you, Donnie. I think it's either going to be the best wide receiver or the remaining best defensive lineman.
Shedeur Sanders said there's a different vibe in town there with new head coach Mr. Monken pulling the strings, and offensive coordinators usually like to get an offensive weapon here to start out their new, let's just say, residency in Cleveland. We'll find out shortly, but we'll be right back on PME after this short break.
The process is closed. Let's call it out for this, right? And is it their fault? You could, they've been just besieged and Embiid, but it just continues, Kevin, right? As soon as he's like, don't worry about my health, and and then here we are, right? I would have traded him a couple of years ago. I would have gotten ahead of the curve, Kevin.
Game time decisions only on SportsGrid.
At the end of the day, LeBron's going to have to put that team on his back. Can he do it? I don't know if he could do it for a 7-game series. Can he give you like 2, oh my goodness, LeBron at 31? Yeah, I think he can give you a couple of those games. But it's about the other guys that have to step up.
Pro basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
Scottie Scheffler, the best golfer in the world. How many majors will he win this year? And if he does get 4, Joe, that's currently trading at 3 cents. So a $100 investment actually only pays back $333 at this point, which is kind of insane when you ask him to win all 4. Joe, I told you already, sticking to my guns. $100 investment on no majors. None over the next 4 this year.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
You build teams in the second, third, and fourth round, right, Donnie?
Yeah.
That's where you build. That's where you get the depth. That's where you build the team. So teams looking for draft capital very much could be alive and well in this draft coming up because there's just nobody to mortgage the future for because you need your franchise guy. They're just not in this draft.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
A lot of marketplaces tonight that you want to maybe invest your wagers. Prediction Markets Edge. Take a look at this one, Joe. Players drafted in the top 3 in 2026. Now, we've been talking about the 3 same guys for months now, it feels like. Fernando Mendoza going number 1 overall. That's probably going to happen. David Bailey or Arvell Reese fighting for that number 2 spot, but also thinking if anybody else can sneak into that top 3 because Mendoza, Bailey, and Reese have that locked. And then you see, all right, Jeremiah Lovett around 35%. Sonny Styles, also from Ohio State, he might be able to sneak in at 14%. My question to you, Joe, is it a smart investment to take somebody outside of the 3 favorites to maybe jump into this market tonight?
Yeah, well, I tell you what, I mean, this is a better market than trying to figure out what Arizona is going to do at number 3, right? Because I think we're much more locked in on the players and what kind of draft this is going to shake out to be, at least in the top 3. I still go to Jeremiah Love not being a top 3 pick here, Donnie, and I think you can get the no on him at still under about 70 cents here. And I think that's the way I'd look because I'm not buying that a running back. I'm not buying him especially going in the top 3. I don't think anybody's trading up. I don't think Arizona is going to go get him with the 3rd pick. So I would look to the no. I think maybe that is the safest bet right now in this market.
Yeah, Arvell Reese, he's probably going to go top 3. But again, the investment's not going to pay back all that much. But also, it's just leverage. If I told you that you can have a $100 investment tonight, Joe, and by tomorrow morning I'm going to give you $13 back. Like, hey, buddy, 8 p.m., can you lend me $100 to give you $113 by 7 a.m. tomorrow? You probably would take that. Like, Reese is going to be a top 3 pick. On cash, you could take that $100 wager, $100 investment, pays back to $113 back. Top 5 players drafted, so a little bit more of a chance to sneak in there. Mendoza, Reese, Bailey, Love, all at 80% or higher, but then the fun begins. Sonny Styles, Jordan Tyson climbing up, Caleb Downs, Carnell Tate, Joe. That 5th spot's going to be interesting tonight, and if you hit it right, that investment could turn profitable for you.
Yeah, the interesting thing, top 5, and again, would I be shocked if Caleb Downs goes to the Giants at 5? No. They need help in that secondary there, and he is one of those guys that I think could very well land in the top 5 here. Listen, Tyson, it's a nice story, but again, I'm not sold that any one of these wide receivers. There's going to be 3, 4 of them that go in the 1st round, but none of them move the needle. I think Caleb Downs is a guy would not shock me if he lands in the top 5.
Or how about this, Joe? We always talk about those no contracts. Like running back is always a controversial position. If you feel that Jeremiah Love won't be a top 5 player here in the draft tonight, how about a no contract at 21 cents? A $100 investment would pay back $4.77. Never know. He's a great talent. We know it. Maybe he gets overdrafted and finds himself in the top 4. But if he lands at 6 or less, that contract can be pretty profitable for you. Players drafted in the top 10, even more chance for some leeway at this point, Joe. We go down the, by the way, Caleb Downs, I'm going to put this in right now, Calci. A $100 investment pays back $127, that he will be a top 10 pick. That guy is a game changer. Absolutely, Joe. Should be a top 10 pick there. What do you think?
I agree. Absolutely should be a top 10. A lot of these guys, I mean, you're not going to get, you're not going to break the bank here with any of these selections, Donnie. There are some opportunities, though, I think that you can take advantage in some of the no markets. But right now, as you go down the board here, my goodness. I mean, you're basically betting on which one of these guys is not. How many offensive linemen are on this list, Donnie? To me, we haven't even talked offensive linemen, but that top 10, you're always going to see the best tackle off the board, are you not?
Yeah, absolutely here. And also, Joe, sometimes you just want to go head-to-head. Remove all the noise. Give me 2 players, just like in golf, Joe, right? Like, hey, I'm going to take Scheffler head-to-head with Rory McIlroy. Don't care who wins it, as long as my guy beats the other one. Well, how about tonight? Draft matchup, Arvell Reese versus David Bailey. David Bailey, currently the favorite once again in this market, at 53% as a chance to be drafted over Arvell Reese, who's 47% here. That's a fun market right there. The latest tea leaves, Joe, are leaning towards David Bailey going to the Jets.
Could, absolutely.
Yeah.
Arvell Reese, again, I don't think the Jets can go wrong with either pick, and I do believe what the market is telling you here, Donnie, is they don't think so either. The only thing with Bailey is he is younger, not as experienced, so I'm wondering if that's going to be a deciding factor for the Jets.
And also, Alabama, no stranger to placing players in the NFL. This draft market is just starting to come into play on Kalshi because why? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 plus players to be drafted. Every one is 99 cents to the yes outside of 12 plus players here. They really don't want you going against Alabama just yet, but as this market starts to turn up and players get drafted, it's going to change quite a bit, Joe.
It is, and be wary about this because outside of the top 5, we could get chaos.
Chaos is what we love. Prediction Markets Edge will be back on a Friday here, right here on the grid. See you then.
The process is closed. Let's call it out for what it is, right? And is it their fault? You could argue, they've been just besieged at Embiid, but it just continues, Kevin, right? As soon as he's like, don't worry about my health, and then here we are, right? I would have traded him a couple of years ago. I would have gotten ahead of the curve, Kevin.
Game time decisions only on SportsGrid.
At the end of the day, LeBron's going to have to put that team on his back. Can he do it? I don't know if he could do it for a 7-game series. Can he give you like 2, oh my goodness, LeBron at 31? Yeah, I think he can give you a couple of those games. But it's about the other guys that have to step up.
Pro basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
Scottie Scheffler, the best golfer in the world. How many majors will he win this year? And if he does get 4, Joe, that's currently trading at 3 cents. So a $100 investment actually only pays back $333 at this point, which is kind of insane when you ask him to win all 4. Joe, I told you already, sticking to my guns. $100 investment on no majors. None over the next 4 this year.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
You build teams in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th round, right, Donnie? Yeah. That's where you build. That's where you get the depth. That's where you build the team. So teams looking for draft capital very much could be alive and well in this draft coming up because there's just nobody to mortgage the future for because you need your franchise guy. They're just not in this draft.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.